Hello and welcome to Chamchi Kimbap, the political fish. Um, Normally I'm a bit more upbeat, but we start with a somber kind of atmosphere, following on from Swiss's stream. We've all had some really bad news, and I'm glad to be joined by Gerard. It's the first time on my channel. Introduce yourself,
Hello,
please, mate.
uh, I'm Jared.
Well done, good job. And Angels, who's no stranger to this channel. So,
No, so hey, good to be here again. No doubt we're going to do part 2 of conspiracy theory soon, but what we've heard tonight was just so disheartening. I'm just in a horrendous mood.
it's hard for me to convey to the people where I am, how destructive this is to world peace. I mean, it's here in South Korea, you kind of get in your own little kind of bubble, if you will, because they're very much insular in their geopolitical outlook. They're very much focused on their own worries, their own geopolitics. What with them still being at war with North Korea and everything, and it's kind of difficult to convey this to the Koreans in the last few hours. But what a night, what a morning. Jesus Christ. I honestly, I didn't think this would happen. I honestly thought that I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see it that Trump was just going to jump the gun,
I wouldn't really put it past. I don't think that I really put it past him, but I think that or at least I'd hoped that people would think before they acted this time, as if we haven't had enough catastrophic interventionist issues in the past. And I just feel like really the British people, the French people, and the people of the US have been thoroughly, for want of a better word, hashtag shafted. Yes, I said it, shafted. And you have a blue spanner.
I did say to him earlier, he'll always have a blue spanner. I don't do spanner amnesties. Well, I won't at the moment. Jack James has a good question. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the fallout will be bigger than Iraq? It depends on what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly. You can't answer it. Yeah. But what I would say is that if he means fallout as far as political fallout and sort of fallout when it comes to what people think and then what people are essentially going to end up voting for. So I do think it's going to be bigger, because I feel like there's an appetite now where people go, oh, for God's sake, not again. It's like, is it not time for someone to actually learn from these ridiculous mistakes that have kept happening? So maybe, I don't know, maybe it will be bigger in some ways, like I said, in that way. Do I think that more lives are going to be lost than the illegal war in Iraq? I would hazard a guess that probably not, but it doesn't make them any less significant, or the fallout from it any less. But I would say politically we're at a turning point as it is. We know that we're very volatile when it comes to that. So this added on top, I don't know.
I think politically speaking, this could be Maisie Rock. I mean, when people look back at Blair, all they really think of is he went to war with Iraq, which was a shit war, and we shouldn't have done it. But that was he had backing at the time, and I understand that. Okay, and when we look back at in hindsight, we can look back at Iraq and say, you know, Blair was wrong, and it was a shitstorm, and you know what's happened since then. We can say yes, it was a fucking shitstorm. With May now, because we've got that hindsight from Iraq, we can say you're just begging for a shitstorm, and you're begging for another Iraq, and this is wrong on so many levels, which is why so many people have been speaking out from the when you look at the political spectrum, from the left and the right, and it's kind of crazy. When you look at Blair and Iraq, you had kind of a kind of everybody was for Iraq. You know, he had backing from both sides of the spectrum, whereas with these strikes in Syria tonight, you had kind of people on both sides of the spectrum saying, no, this is wrong. If you do this without proper evidence, this is wrong. And we know this because of what Blair did.
Yeah, totally. And it's just not being listened to. Irvin Sire has said, does the UK have armed citizens? No. Well, I mean, there are people with guns, but it's a lot more difficult here. Like, you have to have special licenses. You can't carry them around in the street, like all that kind of thing. So the answer to that largely is no.
No. Yeah, generally the only people to own guns in the UK
are hunters,
farmers, essentially, and they're for pest control purposes. So, you know, shooting foxes or culling or you know, hunting
pigeons, clay pigeons or whatever.
Yeah, any of those tough sports. So,
well, actually, my uncle used to own a clay pigeon shoot. I mean, of course he did. I'm middle class, right?
That's not middle class. That's upper class, mate. Clay pigeon shooting. I'm sorry.
Is it? I used to do it when I was like 10.
Really? Oh, mate, that's upper class, mate. That's not middle class. Middle class is going skiing in the Alps, like.
Oh well, I've done that too.
Shooting. Yeah, well, why am I not surprised? But. Again, this is one thing. This is another thing that people are when you look at the left-right divide and people united are on their disgust on these actions tonight. On the class divide as well, they are pretty united that they think this is fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
that we've actually done this.
It's across the entire spectrum. That's what I was saying earlier. I don't know. I literally, I know this sounds awful, but I literally burst into tears. Like I know it sounds like dramatic, but I honestly did. Like I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, So, because I could just see the whole train wreck all over again. You know, it actually, like. And watching the reality of it unfold, I think that she has sown the wind, but I fear that she's going to reap the freaking whirlwind now.
Yeah, she's fucked. She's absolutely fucked.
Hi, Swiss.
Hey, Swiss.
At least Blair had a majority to rely on.
True.
For Iraq.
Right.
Well, even without a majority, I think. Well, let's say that May had a slim majority. She kept. Maybe she had like 320 seats. Maybe she had 330 seats. Let's just in this thought exercise that we're going to indulge in for a moment. Now, if she'd have taken it to Parliament on Monday, do you really think it would have been passed?
No, it would have been slapped down right away.
Yeah, exactly. Even
I
if
think
you would have had a majority, even if you'd have had Blair's majority in 2003, you know, I still think it would have been slapped down. You know?
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's no appetite for it within Parliament, regardless of whether she had or didn't. So
I do not like when you go on when you start or when you have acts of aggression, like now whether these are acts in defense or something, at some point you have to have people from your side of your country firing rockets or firing missiles, launching planes, doing airstrikes, whatever, you know. At the end of the day, there must be some kind of motive. So there must be some kind of end game to it, right? I know a lot of people talk about, you know, the pipeline that wants to go towards Syria, but I mean, what end game or what spin can May take from this? How can she justify these actions? I mean, if it's the chemical weapon thing, then surely she would have let, or the Allied forces would have let the weapons inspectors come in. Was it the OPCW, the Office of Preventions of Chemical Weapons? Is that right? Is that right, Gerard? You're better at this than I am.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So surely they would have let them go in to do their investigation on essentially today, Saturday, as we speak. They would have let them to go because they arrived like today to do their inspection or to do their investigation or at least to start their investigation. So if she wanted that evidence to fall back on, surely she would have waited for that investigation, or the Allied forces, speaking of US, UK, and France being the people that dropped the bombs. Doesn't that make sense?
oh yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, of course.
So yeah, go on, carry on, Angels.
I was going to say it's not actually only that. It's more to do with it feels like it's sort of been sneaked through, if that makes sense. Like trying to avoid the parliamentary vote, trying to you know, and like I'm sorry if you hear snoring, by the way. It's not me, I promise, although I probably will be soon. But yeah, it feels like people have been cheated a bit. Like the people that really count have not been consulted, and this has been pushed through against not only Parliament's will, but all of our will, you know. I can't, I feel really quite cheated by the entire thing. If I'm honest. And I don't know, it's like increasingly, it's like a mix of depressing, infuriating, and this kind of head against the wall banging, what the fuck, why haven't you learned from this before when we've done it every single fucking time? You know, I don't know, just
Well, Captain Swiss just said, you know, 11th hour before any scrutiny, and I think that's essentially right. It was at the 11th hour. Going to BBC Question Time and Joe Johnson specifically, he said that if the vote had gone the other way in 2013, then we wouldn't have had this chemical attack today. So we are essentially kind of, or the people of Syria are paying for our inaction back in 2013. What do you think on that?
I think that's complete and utter bollocks.
Indeed. Well, it's Joe Johnson, so it's bound to be bollocks. But
I don't think that there's any decent evidence to actually back that up whatsoever.
Well, there was no decent evidence that they had done the attack back in 2013
in the first place.
Yeah. So
no, I think that's absolute posturing bollocks, and especially I've always said this too. Like, the one good thing about sort of not being terribly tribal one way or another is that it does give me the opportunity almost the benefit of being able to be very kind of objective in the way that I see things. So if I see something as blatant bullshit, I'm like, I can call it out because I don't have an allegiance to something. So I feel like, whilst everybody is biased, this is true. Like, it's so difficult for any one person to be unbiased, right? But I feel like, as far as you can be as a human being, I'm pretty close to it. Like, I seem to make sense mostly. I seem to make sort of rational decisions. I like to look at evidence before I sort of jump to something. And the way that I view it is, it's total and utter bollocks. So...
well, Captain Swenson said, if we'd have toppled Assad Iraq style 5 years ago, things would have been better, bro Joe. Yeah. Well, that was the gist I kind of got from it.
Nobody takes his word for it.
Well, yeah, I know. Fucking
Jack
James, my guess at best is they jumped ahead of potential trial because the evidence was weak. Yeah, it was circumstantial at best, Jack James. Definitely agree with you. I'm kind of shafted. I hope Corbyn wouldn't allow it if Labour was in power. No, I don't think he would at all. He wouldn't allow it at all. He would have at least allowed the weapons inspector, the
investigation
office
sort of thing.
The investigation, the OPCW, at least to go in and do their work. I mean, that's what they're there for. And it's an independent body at the end of the day, respected by the UN. So you need, if you're going to do warlike actions and escalation-like actions like we did tonight, again, the time zone thing is fucking me up. Then you need UN backing for that sort of thing. And this was done without UN backing, which is, I suppose, is another thing worth mentioning. The UN was not involved.
No, well, actually, it apparently now is, because that's why I'm on call from Monday. So,
yeah, it will be now. So are you on the UN's call list, are you?
So I'm a contractor. So literally I work for myself, but the contract at the moment, I do have to do job. I can't really talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it like online. I can tell you outside, it's not like I'm some big sort of top dog or anything, but I prefer just to not discuss that live.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But
basically,
no, I
understand.
I'm
a contractor, but I'm in that area and I just translate. So
I freelance myself, so I do understand. So it's all good. Shafted said all the debate during the week was in vain. Yes, I agree, Shafted. It has been complete bullshit. I mean, it was a point that I was trying to make earlier, and I think I rabbled a bit. But the framing of the debate was all on the understanding that Syria had actually used chemical weapons.
Committed it.
Used chemical weapons in the suburb of Damascus, right? And there is no allowing of the debate on either side to say, well, what if it wasn't? What if these pictures are fake? There was no what if. I mean, there is the idea that because we, being the plebs, don't have privy information, there is that kind of point, but I just don't buy it. I just don't.
Yeah.
And
Neither.
I mean, if you're going to go to war, I mean, like I said, Syria isn't Iraq. Iraq was a lone state. It was powerful to a certain extent, but it was still, you know, quite backward when compared to the West. Whereas Syria has Russia's backing, and they have Russian forces there. And you know, if there's any massive loss to Russian forces through any bombing raids that we kind of start, it's going to get messy, and it could get messy very, very quickly.
Irvin said in the side chat, the purge is coming.
I hope not, Irvin. Hope not.
But I mean, the whole point is, right, that if we enter into some kind of ridiculous posturing back and forth, which maybe isn't quite a war per se. Well, I mean, certainly acts of war are going to be done. We know that now. But, you know, this ridiculous posturing and tail fluffing back and forth, where does that leave us? Like, I feel like it's just so much worse. I feel like I'd quite like just to stay here and not go back. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Britain's like more of a target than Holland, for example, or other countries in Western.
I like, if we talk about Macron for a moment. I mean, when we talk about any strikes or any Middle Eastern wars, I don't think were they involved in the last Iraq war.
With France, I think they were in airstrikes. I certainly think they were in airstrikes. No, sorry, that was post Iraq war. So I know that they were involved in airstrikes against ISIS, but I'm not sure whether they were. Guys in the side chat, Swiss probably knows this, but were France involved in the Iraq war? I wouldn't be surprised if they were. But
yeah, they were.
They were. Yeah. Okay. Massively, or just like airstrikes? And
I think it was mainly airstrikes. I think they were one of the first ones to launch missiles.
Okay. Oh, Swiss says no.
No. Not in Iraq.
Not in Iraq.
That's
Right,
what
am I thinking Afghanistan?
might have been.
Yeah.
I know they've had lots of the Je suis Charlie thing, and that was due to the Charlie Hebdo cartoons, and the fact that they've had some seriously bad terrorist attacks on their soil. I'm very, very surprised that Macron was one of the first to jump in. Both feet first.
It might almost be because of that, though. In some ways, it might be not an act of sense or justice, but more like revenge.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you justify that? I don't see the like, if you're going to fight terrorism, you don't then go and bomb a country that will then create more terrorists.
Of course not.
Or you don't then go and bomb the people that are fighting the same terrorists that did the terrorist attack on your country.
No.
I mean, I don't see the logic there. Am I being stupid, or
no, you aren't, because I don't see it either. But I can see why it kind of it's ended up happening. Like not really. Like, there's no real logic to it, but what I'm saying is I can see how it's unfolded, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it makes sense to the average person if we're thrashing it out and talking about it, but you know how knee-jerk reactions are devastating. I feel like this is what we're in now too. This is like a knee-jerk reaction without the evidence that we need, and we're just barreling in, all guns blazing, and it's sickening.
Absolutely. There was a point I wanted to pick up on what Shafted said earlier, and I think he was picking up on something that I said earlier about the bombing raids destroying quote unquote evidence. I didn't mean evidence, but it was the fact that the investigators were there, and I was trying to put across that it was going to stop any investigation taking place. The fact they were bombing that suburb of Damascus, the fact they were actually bombing places in Damascus itself. I think it was trying to halt an investigation rather than bombing the investigation. Sorry, Shafted, that was what I was trying to point out before, and I think that's what you were alluding to when he said quote unquote evidence. And I just thought I'd point that out.
Do you know what? I'm almost falling asleep. So without trying to cut this short, I'm absolutely exhausted. And here it is nearly 7 a.m. It's 6:51. And I have
the
to
sun is starting to come up. Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me, Chanty, but I'm going to have to go.
No worries.
I literally pass out on my keyboard. But
pleasure.
like I said, never at all coming onto your channel. And cheers to everyone watching too. And I will, I guess I'll speak to you guys tomorrow. Cham, are you going to do like another stream about this tomorrow?
We'll see how it goes. What do you mean tomorrow? Tomorrow, you mean as in later on today?
Basically, yes. Had a press.
We'll see. Like it's 2 p.m. here, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Alrighty.
Get some kip, mate. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. I will. See you guys. Good night.
Yeah.
So Gerard, Gerard, you've been quite quiet throughout the entire 27 minutes we've been streaming.
That's the way I usually am.
So yeah, tell me something.
Anything
like anything that's relevant.
I think mainly all the points relating to this have been pretty much covered. The only thing is, I think that Putin's a smart man. I don't think he wants to see the destruction of his own people. So I don't think he would escalate to the point of full-scale war, though I do think he'll ramp it up a bit more.
Well, the way it stands right now, if he did retaliate to Allied forces within Syria, so long as he didn't go beyond the boundaries of Syria, he'll be within his rights. I see. Like,
like there was no reason to kill civilians over an alleged attack. But yeah, I don't think he would escalate. I think he would do something back, but I don't think he would escalate to the point of full-scale war. No,
I think you're right, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right. He is a very, very clever man. Very, very clever. I mean, he when you compare him to someone like Boris Johnson, Theresa May, Donald Trump, any of the Bushes, like his intelligence is absolutely mammoth compared to theirs. You know, so the fact that he would do something stupid is crazy. So I think you're right on that. I think this is where people get it wrong. I mean, I do admire Putin to a certain extent, but he's more kind of infamous. You know, he's more to be feared than respected, I think, when it comes to Putin with his crazy intelligence. You know, to go from a KGB agent to the head of the KGB to then become president and then keep hold of that power for so long, brutally keep hold of that power for so long. You know, that's no George Bush Jr., you know, to do that.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a dominant figure, if anything.
He scares me, actually. He really scares me. Do you, like, if you imagine, like, in these early days of the KGB, which was during the Cold War, can you imagine the kind of shit he would have had to do? You know?
Yeah, the Cold, like, he could have been probably a bit softer before the Cold War, but I think KGB sort of broke him.
Well, if you think about RSAS and how fucked up they can be, and the kind of shit that they get up to.
Oh yeah, even in this part of the country here, they've been a bit brutal over the 30 or so years they were. But yeah, I don't think he'd want to fully escalate it, though. I don't think he would be as light as expelling diplomats. I say.
Well, he will only escalate when it's to his full advantage. At the end of the day, he sees it. I mean, if you look at Sun Tzu's Art of War, he sees the West as making mistake after mistake after mistake, right? So why interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of interviews with him, and his basic view is it's more the West that's creeping up on him and blaming him for all sorts of stuff he wasn't involved in. I'm not defending fully, like, he's done some fucked up stuff, but whenever you see, you know, the West pushing more in the South China Sea, and they are pushing more towards the Black Sea and pushing more on Europe's borders, it seems they're more just surrounding them at this point.
Yeah. And the West is like, or especially America, is how dare they put their borders next to our military bases? You know, it's like, what the fuck, mate? And of course, Russia is exactly the opposite. You know, we've had these borders here for, you know, a lot longer than you've had your military bases.
Yeah, I think it's fairly safe to say we're probably heading towards the Second Cold War at this point. Or if not, we're probably already in it. With the way things are going.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, to be honest, mate. Oh God, Swiss with your fucking puns. The globalists don't like Russia because they're always Putin themselves first. British nationalist interest announcement. There's a really good part of what we're told about Syria and Adam Curtis's hyper normalization. Okay, I don't kind of. There's a really good part about what we're told about in Syria and Adam Curtis's hypernormalization. Oh, maybe. Hang on. This Irvin character wants to join. I think it could be interesting.
Yeah, let's get him in.
I know, right? Did you click the link? What are you doing, Jared? It's like it sounds like you're playing a computer game or something.
No, I'm just going about Wikipedia.
All right.
Just looking at some stuff Putin's done.
If you look at the history of Russia, basically over the last 300 years, I I do not I do not kind of, what's the word? I don't kind of blame the Russian people for wanting a strong leader. I mean, they've been invaded time and time again, from Napoleon to Hitler. Time and time again, they've been invaded. You know, so I understand that Stalin setting up the satellite states of Ukraine, Poland, Georgia, places like that. I do not blame Russia for doing that. I mean, they don't. We're quite lucky. I mean, we're an island, and especially you're an island as well where you live.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a moat. You know, one of the best forms of defense, whereas Russia doesn't. I mean, you can access Russia from almost any part of the world via land, and that makes invasion very, very easily. And the only thing, well, one of their biggest defenses, as it turns out, if you look at Russian history, is their winters. You know, because their winters are fucking brutal. And they learned to play on that. And so yeah, I don't blame Putin. I don't blame the Russian people for supporting brutal. I do blame Putin for his lack of democratic understanding and the way that democracy should work. But you know, apparently he still has 70% favorable appeal to the people. So why not? Why not?
Yeah, so even though you're an island, all you really need is sort of a strong navy. And then you should be solid from there.
Yeah, exactly right. Britannia rules the waves, and it was like that for hundreds of years. Came unstuck in the Second World War, granted, but then it was all about air superiority. But
yeah, but you can get the Russia from China, the Middle East.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. Hence my point. Yeah. You know, it's they were invaded from all angles. So I don't kind of blame their aggressive stance. You know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. With even like the sort of satellite states to build a sort of cushion between the mainland and the mainland, I guess you'd say, and the rest of Europe and China and the Middle East.
Well, this was it. I mean, after the Second World War, and after Stalin got fucked over by Hitler, that was one of these first things that Stalin wanted to do is set up a buffer zone, you know, between Russia and the West, so they could deal with their own style of communism in their own way, or Stalinism as it's now called. But seems like Irvin can't work out how Google works, so that's kind of sad.
But yeah, it's weird how they just sort of see each other as the aggressor and none of them really causing it themselves. I think both of them have an impact on what they've done to each other.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think we'll hear more or less anything until probably the morning or at the latest, like sometime tonight.
So where are you from, Gerard? Are you from Belfast?
Yeah.
So just to take us off topic, and I know you've been talking to Captain Swiss. What was your thoughts when Theresa May made the deal with the DUP?
Well, it was sort of early when I was watching the election. Whenever the exit poll came in, I started adding the numbers in my head. I was like, right, if the numbers in my head are right, the kingmakers are going to be the DUP here, and I wonder how that's going to turn out. That's not going to go well on the talks, since I think at that point that was like a couple of months after the December election, and at this point they're basically DP have already like sort of dictated major policies. And if anything, they're the ones saving May from a voter of confidence, because if it came down to it, you'd have all the opposition voting for it, all the Tories voting against, and then the DP would be the one deciding, and they obviously wouldn't vote themselves out of office. But I think it would be pretty bad for, with the way the talks are going, I think it'd be pretty bad if one side is biased to defend the other.
Yeah. Do you think that May's, or sorry, the Conservatives, not just May, but the Conservatives' will to join the DUP, and of course their negotiating stance in the Brexit deal, are putting the Good Friday Agreement into jeopardy?
Well, when you start messing with the Good Friday Agreement, you start playing with fire, because that's sort of the only thing that is stopping it from going back to what it was. And I don't think the EP really realize what they're doing when they're talking about the border, because they're like, oh, we'll just have a soft border. But that is what started a lot of the trouble in the first place, was a hardening of the border.
So, how old are you, Gerard? Not to be
18.
18. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't actually remember any of the troubles?
No, I can't say I do.
Okay. Well, I'm twice the age of you, right? Okay. And the fact that anybody, it doesn't matter what position you hold, whether you're royalty or whether you're a politician or prime minister or whatever, anybody to put that agreement into jeopardy scares the shit out of me, honestly, mate. I like being a Londoner. It really does scare me, remembering the troubles personally, and it seemed like every day, people were dying because of these troubles, and it was on our shores. To give it a parallel to what's happening in Syria, this was actually actions on British soil and on obviously Irish soil as well. People were dying on both sides, and it was really no need for it. And for the precarious grounds that the Good Friday Agreement was laid upon, and how fragile it's been over the last 20 years, for Theresa May just to make that shocking deal with the DUP actually blew my mind. I
think if anything, she really, it's either A, she could have gone with Lib Dems, which wouldn't go down well with the party, I don't think. Or B, she probably just could have called in our election and went, let's do that again, because nowhere we can put the
but she would have lost it.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, this was a prime example of Tories. It was power over country. They just want power. That's all it's about. Is they just want power, and they don't care about the good of the country, whether it be England, Britain, or Ireland, or the greater Ireland. They just don't give a fuck. Because it's only the plebs that die. And of course, they're not plebs, so they won't be involved. The only thing that would change their mind if there was a new Guy Fawkes, you know.
And even then, that would sort of stoke terrorism flames a little bit.
I mean, if you look at Joe Cox, I mean, that was a bit close to home for them. But as far as the Tories are concerned, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but this is, you know, this is my channel, and I'm going to say it. The Tories probably didn't give a fuck because it's just another one less pleb because she was Labour, you know.
Yeah, strategically, it sort of worked in their favor.
Yeah. They really don't give a fuck. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Tories resent Labour even being there because they haven't been educated. They are not bred to the same pedigree that they have. You know, these people, they've had to buy their own furniture, for fuck's sake. So why should we listen to them? You know, they're not from the same stock that we are. You know, the aristocrats and lords, and, you know, even then, even like a lot of these people, you know, Boris Johnson, right? The complete fuck up that he is. I bet you, like, once he retires, he'll be given a lordship. He'll be given a peer, you know. There will be a Lord Boris Johnson. There will probably be a Lord David Cameron at some point as well. Well, I don't know about David Cameron, but Boris Johnson definitely. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, more the definition of elitism.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally. Of course. That's how the Houses of Parliament was built on. You know, I mean, it was a way for the aristocracy and for the elite to while away their days and decide how to run the country. That's what it was. And they never got paid for it just because it was just a pastime for them. So,
yeah, and the Lords always used to be seen as just the more educated chamber. So they were the ones that sort of back 1800s, they were at some points they were taken more seriously than the Commons.
I think, again, bringing us back to the point, this idea, I know, like, there is a case for Theresa May tonight using the royal prerogative, right? And she does have the royal prerogative. But for fuck's sake, just to follow Trump into bombing this country just scares me. It scares me. It just shows the contempt they have from everybody, because everybody, like, hashtag not in my name on Twitter's been trending all week, you know, like, Theresa May, do not bomb this country, hashtag not in my name, you know. And it just shows the contempt, the contempt that they have for the hashtag plebs, you know. So it's and again, it goes back to the thing I was saying before, that they really don't give a fuck. The Tories don't give a fuck. The Tories don't give a fuck about the Good Friday Agreement. They don't give a fuck if the IRA start bombing, you know, King's Cross all over again, or you know, the Guildford nightclub bombings. They don't care about that because they're just killing plebs. You know, they really do not give a fuck.
I think if the Troubles did start again, which hopefully they don't, obviously, I think if they did start again, it would make the 30 years that happened beforehand look like an absolute cakewalk. I think it would be far worse, because Republicans and loyalists would more Republicans would see it as sort of, okay, democracy hasn't worked, only our way can work again, let's give it another go. And I think with the way both sides have been polarized here, as can be seen in elections, and tensions are worse, I think it'd be far worse than it was last time.
Mm.
That's just my
That's
opinion. But
that is the scariest thing I've heard you say. I mean, I've been trying to listen to your streams with Swiss, but that's one of the scariest things that I've ever heard you say. I mean, if the troubles, I mean, who do you vote for? Do you vote unionist or loyalist?
unionist or loyalist. I'd say more. I would call myself more other, or if you really want to push me with a gun to my head, soft nationalist. So more SDLP type.
Hmm.
That's me.
What is that from your family, or is it something independent?
It's. I wouldn't really say family. It's just more. I'd say more historical sort of stuff. I wouldn't really. I don't think it's the right time for it. I'll say how much like the economy and Brexit. It's just
Mm.
really not the right time for it. It would be a complete shit show. And as I said to Swiss before, you would sort of have to get rid of the paramilitaries before you even think of holding the border poll.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a shit show in itself, wouldn't it? Fucking hell! Can you imagine that?
So you would sort of have to get to where tensions are probably at the best they've ever been. Both sides of the economy are doing great. Brexit really isn't really a problem, so I wouldn't say it's a short-term solution. I'd say probably long-term, 15, 20 years, somewhere down the line.
Are the paramilitary still active? Because obviously we don't hear about it in the UK. So sorry, not in
Sorry.
in the London centrist news. I mean, you must understand that BBC for and Sky is very much London centrist, so we don't really hear much about what happens across the Irish Sea.
In the past couple of days, police have been doing big crackdowns on really both sides. Like yesterday, well, I guess yesterday now, that's like 6 in the morning. They did a massive raid on a dissident Republican group. And three of the biggest loyalist groups were like, right, anybody in the group who is not supporting the rule of law gets kicked out. But my problem with that is you have an illegal group saying if any of them don't support the rule of law, they get kicked out. So basically, everybody gets kicked out. And even then, they did an attack about 2 days later. So it really didn't last all that long. But you see more dissident Republican groups disbanding nowadays since they see there's no point in fighting anymore. They're not going to resolve anything. Then loyalist groups, I think it'll take loyalist groups a bit longer to come around since they still see themselves as defending for the Union. When I guess in the Good Friday Agreement, nationalism was like, okay, we'll try the peaceful way then.
Fucking hell. We live in scary times, mate. We live in fucking scary times. If you were to put yourself on the political spectrum, where would it be?
It's a sort of centrist, but a little bit right-leaning and a little bit more libertarian. So, like, if you've ever seen the whole political spectrum thing, I'd say I'd put myself, like, in the top left corner of the purple part of it.
Okay, so we got the axis. I like the colors. I can't really, because I'm like deep bottom left, right? So you would be towards the right, but
I guess I would agree with you on most. I actually find that I agree a lot with the left in most things, which makes me question why I was placed on that part of the spectrum. But if we had an actual conversation on policy, I'd probably agree with you a good bit. I'm not your mortal enemy.
No. Well, I mean, my idea of the left is we don't go looking for enemies, whereas that's on the right. That seems to be one of their prerogatives. They're always trying to look for an enemy, and that's their route to power that they see is that looking for enemy. The right sees divide and conquer, whereas the left sees unite and lead. I think is a great quote. So
yeah, I wouldn't disagree with it.
So I think that's a fundamental difference between left and right. But okay, so people are turning in. It's getting late. So yeah, we've been streaming for nearly an hour. Ichibanz is obviously not going to join us. So Gerard, I think I'll wrap this stream up here. Thank you. I'm sorry. Who was it? Irvin. Sorry, Irvin. If you couldn't work out the Google sharing thing, get yourself a Gmail account, and then it'll work out for you. If you're still there, I think you've gone. But also, so yeah, I'm going to wrap up this stream. Thank you to everybody for being there in the side chat. Shafted, we need to get you in this fucking. I need you to come and talk to me at one time. In this place, in this hangout one time. What do you reckon, Shafted? Are you going to join us one time? But yeah, let's wrap it up. And thank you, Gerard. Again, do you have a channel or a Twitter or something that you want to talk about?
I can link my Twitter.
If you put a comment in the top chat, then I'll give you a spanner.
All right.
Just put a comment there. Just say hello or something, and I'll give you a spanner. Then you can. Are you the Sonic fan?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. You're a gamer.
Not so much anymore. I made this account when I was like, what? I don't know when I made this account, to be honest, but I'm sort of stuck with the name and never really changed it.
Okay, so you should have a spanner now. So try and send a link.
There we go.
There we go. So this is Gerard's link to his Twitter.
Joined 2014. Didn't think it was that. Didn't think it was that long ago.
To me, it seems like yesterday, but you know, yeah, another spanner. Shafted. When are you going to come and do these hangouts with us, eh? Oh, he's back. All right. Well, if Shafted and Irvin are going to join us, then I might keep this stream running a little bit longer. I really want to talk to Irvin. Irvin, mate, sort out a Gmail account. Did you do it? If you did, here's the link again. Shafted's having problems with Hangouts. Oh, that's a shame.
Wait, is Shafted trying to join from the phone? Because I've had that problem.
From the what?
From the phone, I've had that problem. Basically, the whole thing is you can click the link. It'll lead you onto the Hangouts app, but it will not show you any new Hangouts. There are ways around it, like I've done, to where you join on a PC and then, because my mic doesn't work right now, so I'm using the phone. So you join on the PC and then click on the app at the same time, and it should come up.
Yeah, I don't understand why people would use it on mobile devices. If it's a tablet, then I think it's easier to get around, but phones seem to be a bit of a weird one. I don't know why. God, I'm drinking this fucking fire water. Chinese fire water. weird, man.
Doesn't sound all that great.
It's 50%, mate.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, if we're ushering in World War III, why not?
They don't hold back.
Yeah. I'm mixing it though. I'm not drinking it straight. God, it's fucking horrible. It's I'll show you a picture of the bottle. It's really quite nasty stuff. There we go. Let's turn off the camera. There we go. Right, this is the bottle. And if we look on the side of the bottle here. Now focus. Focus. Come on, camera. Where am I looking? Oh yeah, somewhere in there it says 50%, but you can't really see it because it's. But yeah, China was. It's called.
Nice bottle.
Yeah, it is actually. Guess how much this bottle costs? It's like
Jesus Christ! If it's 50%, honestly, no clue.
$1, mate.
Jesus Christ!
I know.
Over here, it'd be like 20 quid.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it is a beautiful bottle actually, and we used to call it. Okay.
Yeah, my keyboard is kind of ear rip.
Let's turn off the cam, shafted. That's why, like, I used to have an avatar and it was really cool. But YouTube ate my avatar. I'm gonna write a fucking blues song, and it's gonna be called YouTube ate my avatar.
Okay, so I have the Wikipedia page up here. Apparently, the highest grade of it retails at $3,000.
Sorry, one more time.
Apparently, the highest, I can't really pronounce the name of it, but I'm looking at this Chinese firewater on Wikipedia, and apparently the highest grade of it retails at $3,000.
Oh yeah. This is bottom end stuff, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely bottom end. But you know, it's like I said, it's 50%, and it's if you want to get yourself fucked, like we used to do a shot before we used to do anything. We used to say, "Do you want to do the dragon dance?" And people say, "Yeah, let's do the dragon dance." So we used to queue up shots of it, right? And the thing is, like when you drink it, because it tastes like nail varnish remover, right? And you do this little little kind of, and your elbows touch behind your back, and like you do a little kind of jiggle, and we used to call that the dragon dance when you do it.
Oh, you'd be fucked up on the thing in about 3 shots.
Yeah, it's quite nasty. What are you talking about, Irvin?
Fuck, I actually want to try this now.
Are you big drinkers there in Belfast?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I'd say there's a lot of drinking. I don't drink all that much, though. When I do, I tend to drink a lot. So this would probably be a good night for me. Of all this stuff.
Is it all Guinness, or am I just like going like stereotypical tropes?
No, it's usually. Well, the tradition here is to start your night off with Guinness and then move on from there. Because Guinness is sort of an easy way to get into drinking.
Yeah, I don't like Guinness, but a good Irish whiskey. I love my whiskey. So tell me a good Irish whiskey. that you would recommend?
I'm not really a whiskey drinker myself.
Really? Is Jameson's Irish? I love a bit of Jameson's.
Uh,
It's not
I'm not.
Scotch. Is it?
I'm not sure if it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, Irish whiskey. Yeah.
So, sorry, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Rather than there be like some kind of hoo-ha with the Irish border, would you rather a united Ireland?
Right now or in the future?
In the near future, what would the way the Brexit negotiations are going, and with Theresa May's fuck up with the DUP, which, I mean, what are your thoughts on a united Ireland?
See, as a lever, that sort of puts me in a dilemma.
Well,
I'd rather if it was united and both were to the EU, but that's really me.
Ah, right. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. I see where the dilemma comes in. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
know you were a lever. I should have known that.
Oh, am I willing to? That's a hard one. Am I willing to accept the EU over?
Well, well, that's it, isn't it? Are you willing to accept the EU or the Good Friday Agreement to essentially be broken? Which unless some really good jiggery pokery is going to be, some voodoo economics or some voodoo diplomacy is going to be thought up, then yeah, it would either be a united Ireland or some serious fucking hardcore diplomacy is going to be carried out. But as was said before, is that May doesn't give a shit, or the Tory government doesn't give a shit about the Good Friday Agreement. So,
assuming that everything will be peaceful, this would take a lot of thinking for me to come to a decision. But sure. I think I would rather take peace over a bit of bureaucracy, even though I hate bureaucracy, but that's me. I think I would rather just take peace over it. Sort of lesser two evils.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that. Fuck's sake. Irvin, are you going to join or what? Like, or shafted? It won't let me join either on my phone or PC. On PC, I get forwarded to a help page. Really? Let me, maybe the link was bad.
That hasn't really happened with me. I was joining with PC.
Well, no. Yeah, well, I did this once. I did a Hangout once, right? And I shared the link, right? And everybody I shared the link to was forwarded to a separate Hangout place. And I was sitting there waiting for people to join me in obviously the host's space. And then Captain Swiss messaged me on Twitter and says, "Are you going to join us in the Hangout?" I was like, "I'm here in the Hangout." And he's like, "No, we were waiting for you here." And I was like, "Oh, fuck me." So I had to close down the whole thing and then start up another one. Yeah, just because they went to a separate one. So it's not an exact science. So yeah, it can be like totally weird sometimes.
Google's just weird in general with searching things and joining things.
Shafted, you're using Firefox. Why didn't you use Chrome? Ah, right. Maybe that's why it's streamlined. Because I use Chrome. Do you use Chrome?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be why it's so streamlined for us. Like, if you use Firefox, then that's a different publisher, isn't it? And then you're looking at plugins and stuff like that. Because we use Chrome, because that's Googleware essentially, isn't it? That's Google stuff. So that makes sense why it's so streamlined. God, you're typing it like your typing is wicked, mate.
Yeah, it's the keyboard. It's a mechanical one, so it can be really loud at times.
Well, you're really fast anyway. What keyboard do you have?
I can show it on camera. That's F. Okay, switch camera. Is that it? No. Is that it? Oh, Jesus Christ.
I can't see.
Is,
hello.
Is this anything here? I can't see anything from. Yeah, I really can't see what's going on here. Oh, went green. Okay, so it's this one here. I've had it for a couple of years.
All right. Oh, what's the mic?
I'm not really sure at this point.
Wow.
Oh,
no, it's your speaker.
Yeah, it just sort of came with it. I can type a lot faster than that. I was just trying to be quiet with it. Oh, we got a joiner. Oh, finally shafted.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Shafted. How's it going?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes. So, you've been.
Have we got any echo? Because I can hear echo.
You're okay on my end. It's not too bad.
Okay, man.
I've got to turn myself down then because I can hear myself.
Yeah. Turn the YouTube channel down that you're watching.
Yeah, I think that's better. Oh, hang on. No, I can't hear you now. Right. Yeah, okay, thanks.
So how you doing, Shafted? Thank you for coming. This is your first appearance on my channel, isn't it? So nice one. I know you've been in the chat a few times, but thank you for joining us.
I'm still getting really bad echo, I'm afraid. I'm trying to sort that out at the moment.
Okay, no problem. Put yourself on mute then while you sort that out. And then when you're ready, jump in.
Now it's gone really quiet. I don't know what's happening now.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know if that's because I've just turned you up or not. I'm really bad at this sort of thing. I never do it normally.
Oh.
And there is really bad echo right now as well.
Yeah, it's in your sound driver settings. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's very difficult for me to comment without seeing your setup. Are you still using your phone rather than a PC? Yeah, I can still hear you, by the way.
So I can hear what you're saying. It's like 30 seconds in between.
Right, okay. But yeah, you need. Did you turn down the volume on the YouTube channel that you're watching?
How do I do that? I don't know how I
Okay,
do
it's
that.
okay. So you're watching.
Oh, hang on. No, it's okay. It's okay. I got it. I've done it.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, when you join a Hangout, obviously we're about 10, 15, sometimes 30 seconds ahead of what's being broadcast on the Google Hangout on YouTube. So you need to mute that shit just so you can watch the chat, so you can watch the channel at the same time. So yeah, if you don't do that, then it really fucks your head up. It's really, really crazy. I've made that mistake so many times before. But yeah. Anyway, Shafted, welcome to my channel. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, about myself.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Well, I live in, as you probably know, I live in Bradford-on-Avon, which is in Wiltshire, just near Bath.
Hmm. What's your political leanings?
Well, I'm the same. I don't really, as you've probably seen this in the streams as well, but I don't really have a left or a right. I don't really believe in the left or in the left or right. But I am Labour. I support Labour.
Do you support Labour or Jeremy Corbyn?
I can't support Tory. That's definite.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What was your first reaction when you heard about the bombings this evening?
I'm getting such bad echoes still, and it's really, I don't know what I have to press to get rid of it.
Is it echoes from me?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Gerard, can you talk for a minute, see if it's coming from you too?
Hi.
And now my speaker button's not working for some reason.
Are you getting, when Gerard talks, are you getting echoes from him too?
I haven't heard Gerard at all so far. I can hear clicking though. I don't know what that is.
That's his keyboard.
Yeah, that's my tail.
Like on what's being broadcast? What's being broadcast? There are no echoes. Okay, so it is definitely in your.
This is why I put off. This is why I put off joining one of these things for so long.
Okay. I'm sorry, Shafted, to drag you into this, but I still have more questions. I have more questions. Are you willing to deal with the questions from Chamchi Kimbap? Okay, so what was your first reaction when you saw the bombings?
My first reaction. I wasn't surprised, let's put it that way, because anybody who's seen what I've said in these streams is you all know that I was expecting it, and I expect Cameron Hickman was probably expecting it as well.
I was surprised in the fact that it came before Monday, and with and Cameron is also pretty spot on with these things as well. I was surprised in the fact that it actually happened so soon, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it happened so quickly when somebody was saying, "Oh, Trump is going to make a speech in a few minutes." I thought, "Oh my God, already!"
Yeah. Right. Especially after the tweet he sent out yesterday. He said it might be soon or it might be sometime in the future. You know, it seems quite crazy. Oh, Onyx is here. Hello, Onyx. Would you like
to
us?
this
Yeah.
Irving character that I lost my spanner. Thank you very much for that.
Hey, like I said, Shafted, man, you'll always have a spanner in here,
Yeah.
man. No, it was an amnesty. So rather than I know yours,
Yeah, but it was
taken.
preemptive, wasn't it?
yeah, it was.
I was going to stay in control of that, and I was going to make sure that it was taken away when I wanted it to be taken away.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, by the time it all kicked off, it was just like, yeah, we were giving up our spanners. So, yeah, it's yeah. If you've got something to say to Irvin, say it now. Go on, because like you lost your spanner because of Irvin. So if you want to give Irvin shit, give him shit now.
No, I don't. I can't be bothered doing that. I'm too old and too long in the tooth to be doing all that.
Very diplomatic of you. No, Irvin, you got around your spanner, mate. Sorry.
Sorry if it takes a few moments for me to answer. There's still a bit of an echo.
Yeah, I feel that. What I do also want to do is see if I can give Onyx a link. Onyx, would you like to join us? Because I'd like to talk to you too. And hopefully you won't be totally confused by Google like Irvin is, but here we go. Because Onyx has been wicked in the information. Like,
has Joel spoken? Because I haven't heard him at all. Has he? He hasn't spoken.
I'm here.
He's there.
Okay.
He's there. He's just
lurking. Now, yeah, it's fine.
He's just lurking in the background. So
that's okay then, as long as I can hear him.
It's 1 a.m. there. Oh yeah. Well, it's nearly 3 p.m. here, Irvin. So.
But about this, about World War III, I don't think many people believed me when I said we were in World War III anyway.
Well, there are some political analysts that think that we are in World War III already. I mean, John Pilger believes that World War III has been going since, well, at least a couple of years. So.
They'll just turn you down on. I think I know what's causing the echo. Hang on a sec. Okay. Are you still there?
I am still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's fine.
Any echo?
No, I think it's gone now. I think I know what was the problem.
Okay, cool. Well, if you look at analysts or journalists such as John Pilger,
hang on.
Oh.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
If you look at journalists such as John Pilger, he seems to think that there has been a world war going on for a couple of years. So, but this is definitely a kind of kicking in the balls to world peace. Anyway,
this apparently, if you read Albert Pike's letter, it will tell you that the World War III was supposed to start when the Zionists and the Muslim world would be set against each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the greater respect to the Zionists and the Islamists, I don't understand why it should drag the rest of the earth into their quarrels. You know. Also, I understand why the West is getting involved, because obviously it's all about fucking oil and a pipeline. But for fuck's sake, I mean, like, stop dragging the working people into it. You know.
Well, I said I don't really want to go into the whole. I can do it in the side chat on the streams, the whole NWO thing and all that. And it's not because I don't want to talk about it. It's just it's so complicated and so detailed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so we have a comment from Irvin. Okay, all jokes aside, how do you think Putin will react when it comes to speaking to the public? And when do you think Trump and Putin will maybe discuss this crazy shit? Well, quickly, I don't think that Trump and Putin will speak directly. It'll be, well, Trump will communicate through Twitter, and Putin will communicate through his crazy kind of spin master shields. How do you think Putin will react? Well, me and Jared and I were kind of discussing that earlier. I mean, he's not going to react while the West is making the mistakes that it is now. Due to the art of war, I don't think so. Shafted, what do you think?
Just answer the. Can you just ask the question once? I'm still getting really bad echo. I think I'm gonna have to go off the stream. Actually, it's really bad, and I don't know what I've got to do to get rid of it.
Fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Sorry, Shafted, man. Take care. Yeah, take care of yourself.
Okay.
Gerard, what do you think of the question? How do you think Putin will react when it comes to speaking to the public?
I think he'd say Russia will retaliate in some way, but I think he'll keep it vague since he probably hasn't made up his mind yet on what he's going to do.
I think he will kind of say this is Western aggression, which it actually is. You know, anybody looking from the outside can obviously disseminate that it is Western aggression against Syria and Russia, right? So we are not on the right side of history, whether you're American, English, or French. This is not great optics on the global scale. So
I don't see any reason for France to get involved, to be honest.
Well, no, I don't see it either. But you know, it's just Macron's dumping in his polls. He really sucks as prime minister, or president. He really sucks as president, and he needs a buff in his ratings. That's the only reason that I can see. And a lot of this is political. So
you know what they say, when you're down at the polls, start a war.
Well, this is it, isn't it? You know, it worked for Trump a couple of years ago. Well, the first bombing in Syria under Trump gave him a good bump. It worked for Thatcher back in the 80s.
You could say it worked for Bush after Afghanistan. His approval rating went through the roof.
Yeah. Kuka Kyoto, Tokyo. Hit the link if you want to chat. It's an open floor at the moment. We're taking all guests. Like, shit. That's the wrong link. What else we got?
I don't think any of us brought. Well, you probably brought it up before I joined. The 3 words America, the establishment does not like people to say. Military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
You could say yeah, you could say they want another war, so defense contractors can make stuff, the army can fight, and people, yeah, it's a money making exercise. You can argue from there too.
Well, yeah, this is it. I mean, if you look at most of the Congress people, if you look at most of the people involved in actually saying that these bombings were a good thing, they probably have shares in people like Halliburton and McDonnell Douglas, and you know, these really big arms manufacturers.
Yeah, even the new Secretary of State, I forget what he's called. The new one. He's a massive war hawk, John something.
Yeah, Warhawk. Yeah, his history on foreign policy is really messy. The way he wanted to escalate Vietnam, he basically wanted to escalate any foreign intervention that America has been in over the last 40 years, 50 years.
Yeah, there's not really a war he didn't like.
I'm sure it'd be different if his own son was involved in that war, you know?
And again, I think it's sort of the same thing with Bush. You have sort of a guy that doesn't really know what he's doing, surrounded by a load of neocons. And they're basically just feeding him, oh, Syrians did this and this and this, and this is why we should attack. Now there won't be any escalation. It'll all be sweet. So I think the same things sort of happened with Bush.
Yeah, exactly. Clarification, Bush Jr.
Yeah, Bush Jr. with Iraq.
Dear.
It's sort of reaching 7 o'clock. I think I might have to go here.
All right then. If okay. Yeah. Let's wrap this up anyway. All right. Thank you very much. It's 2 hours now. Fucking hell. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Shafted. I know it fucked up. Thank you, Angels. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Irvin. Thank you to Onyx and Kuka Kyo Tokyo. Send me a message on. Let me just send you my Twitter handle. Thangi, and send me a message if you want to chat about anything. You sound like an interesting person, or anybody wants to talk to me. You can find me here. Send me a DM if you want to stream. I'm going to be, well, it's 3 p.m. here, so yeah. Thank you, everybody, and good night, good morning, good afternoon, and let's see if we can get a peaceful night's sleep. Take care. Bye-bye.